Back in 2017, when basically everyone and their mother was interested in figuring out exactly what Bitcoin was, I became super interested as well. Totally rode the wave. But despite all the research I was doing, I wasn't convinced that I was going to buy Bitcoin for the rest of my life. What really changed it all for me was this podcast I watched with Logan Paul and Andre G. I'm sure a lot of you guys have watched that same podcast, but I wanted to summarize it for those of you who hadn't and don't have time to sit through an hour-long podcast. What Andre highlights in the podcast are 4, if not 5, essential points that changed my mind forever about Bitcoin and is why I plan on buying Bitcoin for the rest of my life. My first big question about Bitcoin was around the technology and if it was as evolved as it will be in our lifetime. Most of the time, the first product that hits the shelf is not the most innovative or well-made product, and I thought the same phenomena would happen with Bitcoin. But it turns out that most, if not all, cryptocurrencies fall into 2 families, one being Bitcoin and one being Ethereum, and all the altcoins that you see are just derivatives of one of those 2 coins. So as he explained that right off the bat, my first concern totally answered. My second concern was, is Bitcoin safe? Everything I was writing about back in 2017 was all the exchanges that were being hacked. Every week, a new hack would come out that would destroy the price of Bitcoin, and everybody, including me, was super uncertain. But as we've seen over the test of time and how Andre talked about it in the podcast, although exchanges can be hacked, the blockchain has yet to be broken into, and it's pretty much impossible unless you have quantum computing to do so. So there, concern number 2, checked off my list. Third, another thing I spent a lot of time writing about was the regulation of governments across the world around cryptocurrency. News would come out that some country in Asia was thinking about banning cryptocurrency, and Bitcoin's price again would get totally destroyed. But again, as it stood the test of time, basically Bitcoin has become too big to fail. Meaning, if one country or a handful of countries or most of the countries in the world decided that they weren't going to allow cryptocurrency, any country that did allow cryptocurrency would have such a big advantage that it would force the other countries to either relax their regulations or face falling majorly behind in the global economy. See, even though the price of Bitcoin has fluctuated obviously quite a bit over the last few years, the demand has remained extremely strong and people are holding it for long periods of time. And the fourth and final point that he made that really hit it home for me is that Bitcoin is on track to become a new safe haven asset used as a hedge against the stock market and other types of asset, kind of like how we've used gold in the past. People like Andre actually think that Bitcoin is going to basically become the new gold and predict that the market cap of Bitcoin is going to pass that of gold's in the next 10 years. At first, I thought that was absolutely nuts, and of course, we've heard so many wild predictions of Bitcoin's price that don't end up coming true. But when I started thinking about it, it really started to make sense. It really doesn't make sense to have a physical, mined out of the earth asset be our safe haven asset anymore. It makes so much more sense to have a digital, internet-based, decentralized, secure asset be the new safe haven asset or store of value versus other types of currencies or assets. And we're already seeing so much evidence of that. Bitcoin has been in what's called the accumulation phase for a long time now, at least back until when the stock market crashed in March. If you look at the charts, you can see Bitcoin slowly start to hockey stick and gain exponential growth since about March of 2020. A number of financial instruments have been constructed where hedge funds and institutional investors have been able to get in on Bitcoin in large amounts of money, and they've been buying it quietly, trying to not let anybody know on their little secret over the past couple months. And then boom, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, massive household name companies start throwing millions and billions of dollars into Bitcoin. PayPal announced that you could start buying Bitcoin on its platform. Square invested $50 million into Bitcoin and wrote an entire guide about how other companies could follow suit. And then our boy Elon hit it home. Tesla invested $1.5 billion, roughly 15% of their cash reserves, and they just announced that this week. Now the news is flourishing with rumors of companies thinking about buying Bitcoin, speculations about who's going to be next. I'm pretty sure Twitter's stock price even jumped massively today. Well, they had good earnings, but they also just said that they were thinking about investing in Bitcoin, and it seems like they've gotten a positive reaction to it. So my opinion, and again, I'm no investment advisor, but I think this is all just getting started. Tesla was the first S&P 500 company to do it, but Bitcoin represents an opportunity to the entire world to invest in a superior and safe technology that's basically too big to fail at this point, and that many, and myself included, think are going to be the new safe haven and store of value asset for the entire world. I'm investing in Bitcoin not because I think I can make a quick buck off of it, but because I actually think that Bitcoin will be more important to the economic and monetary future of the world than the US dollar has ever been. Again, it's really not about how many dollars a Bitcoin is worth anymore. It's investing in an idea and a technology that makes so much more sense than the modern monetary system that the entire globe runs on. Or I could be wrong. And that's fine. It's not like I'm putting all of my money into it or taking out loans so that I can put it into Bitcoin or not investing in stocks or any other things that I was already involved with. It's just that I believe in this technology, this idea, and the system around it enough that I want to be a part of whatever its future is. This is just my personal opinion, and it's for entertainment value only. Please do your own research like I've done and tell me what conclusions you come to. And that brings me to BlockFi. Now, this video is not sponsored, but they're basically paying you an annual interest rate just to keep your Bitcoin in their account. So if you are interested in buying Bitcoin, I would highly suggest using a service like BlockFi that pays you 6% annual interest just to hold Bitcoin. Peace out, survivors. Make sure you watch all the other videos, and I'm out.